On September 21st, 2001, a torso was discovered in the River Thames near Tower Bridge in London, England. The unidentified remains belonged to a black male around 4 to 8 years old who had been wearing orange shorts. The remains became known as Adam, and the investigation would reveal something horrific had happened to the boy after coming into contact with a monster. The autopsy showed that Adam had been poisoned, his throat had been cut to drain the blood from his body, and his head and limbs had been removed from his torso. Further forensic testing examined his stomach contents and trace minerals in his bones to establish that Adam had only been in the United Kingdom for a few days or weeks before he was murdered, and that he likely came from a region near southwestern Nigeria near Benin City known as the birthplace of voodoo. That evidence led investigators to believe that Adam was trafficked to the UK specifically to be the victim of a ritual sacrifice performed by a witch doctor that uses a child's body parts to make medicinal potions called muti. Unable to find a match for Adam in databases of missing children in Britain and Europe, investigators made requests to the public for assistance. However, the story didn't get them any leads. The police eventually traveled to Nigeria and launched a campaign to track Adam's parents. Despite visiting elementary schools and looking at reported missing children in the region, there was no success. In 2002, a Nigerian woman named Joyce Osagid had been living in Glasgow and authorities suspected her to have been involved in the child's death, but there wasn't enough evidence to charge her, so she was deported back to her home country. She was not a parent of the boy, but had previously been living in Germany when his parents got deported, and she started caring for him then. She said the boy was taken by somebody else while she still lived in Germany, and then eventually she moved to Scotland. In February of 2013, the BBC was contacted by Joyce, who said she was prepared to tell them everything she knew about the boy. The BBC traveled to Nigeria and met with the woman, and she revealed that Adam's real name was in fact Patrick Erhabor. In the past, she had told officers she eventually handed the boy over to a man she called Bawa, who took him to the UK. When she met with the BBC, she finally identified Bawa as Kingsley Oho, an asylum seeker who first came to London in 1997. Kingsley Oho has repeatedly denied any involvement in the murder of Patrick. Kingsley, who used 3 different identities, was arrested in London in 2002 by officers investigating the case. In his flat, they found a plastic bag containing a mixture of bone, sand, and flecks of gold, very similar to what was found in the dead boy's stomach. There was no other evidence that Kingsley was involved in the crime. In 2004, he was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for human trafficking. While in prison, he contacted officers and offered to help with the case, but investigators eventually realized he was wasting their time and he was deported back to Nigeria. The information given to authorities by Joyce has been labeled interesting by officials, but they have to take her information with a grain of salt since she's been unreliable in the past and has a history of mental illness. She had identified a picture as being Patrick, and the media published it extensively, but it was later confirmed to be a different boy. That boy has been found and immediately identified himself in the picture. In July of 2002, a Nigerian woman arrived in the United Kingdom from Germany, claiming to have fled from a Yoruba cult that practiced ritual murders. She claimed that they attempted to kill her son and that she knew Patrick was murdered in London by his parents. When authorities searched her flat, they found orange shorts with the same clothing label as those found on Patrick. In December of 2002, she was deported back to Nigeria. Due to unreliable witnesses and a lack of evidence, the monster who killed and dismembered a 6-year-old boy is still at large. It's hard to say if the perpetrator will ever be caught, but we can only hope that they aren't still out there preying on children. If you're a fan of true crime, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss an episode. You can also hit like or leave us a comment. You can check out our other show, Somewhere Sinister, on YouTube or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to support the show, check out our merchandise at thisismonsters.com. The link is in the description. Thanks again, and be safe.